What is going on, Ada Nation? Welcome to Dap Central. My name is Fareed, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. First off, I want to just quickly apologize for the slight delay. I'm actually at a different location, as you guys can see, and I just got done getting some internet set up, which is a little bit of the reason why we are starting this live stream a little bit late. Nonetheless, everybody tuning in, I do appreciate you guys. Now, today's stream is going to be, like I said, a little bit different. I'm going to be joined by two prominent members within the World Mobile community. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring the both of them up. So the first one is going to be a stake pool operator. Actually, they're both going to be stake pool operators, but that's going to be Cal, aka Clover Nodes. Cal, welcome to the live stream. It's been a long time in the making. How are you doing today?
Yes, sir. I am doing excellent. Just had my Celsius drink, so I'm ready to go. Ready to talk
Let's
some World
get it.
Mobile.
Let's get it. Let's get it. I don't have a Celsius. I've got a traditional old water, but that'll have to do today after such a hectic day. Nonetheless, I'm happy to have you on. Now, let's go ahead and bring on the second guest for today's live stream, and that is going to be Rob, aka Rob Cardano. Rob, welcome aboard. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us here, and I'm excited to talk about World Mobile and just hang out with you guys.
Man, likewise, likewise. Now, we just got wrapped up with Rare Evo, where I saw the both of you, and then we just touched base again at NFTLV. Quickly, let's just get your thoughts on those events, and then we're going to jump into just a little bit of both of your guys' backgrounds and your contributions. Any thoughts about those two events?
Plenty. Cal?
Oh yeah, it was. I don't know where do we start. I mean, let's start with the first one, I guess. Rare. That was absolutely amazing. We got to hang out with the team. We got to experience the eSIM launch. We got to see, get to experience the World Mobile Network firsthand, and so much other things. So many different community members came to both events. Actually, we had a meetup. Both of these events, and it was just incredible for everyone that couldn't make it. We missed you, and hopefully you guys can get to join these events and experience it firsthand, because it's just amazing to be part of like-minded people that share the same vision like us, and it's just amazing in general. Very fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Well said, Rob. Anything you want to add?
My biggest takeaways were just how encouraged I am with what World Mobile's doing. And it wasn't so much the announcements. I mean, we get announcements. They've obviously been building for a long time, doing a lot of things. And there's some periods where seems like a lull, but that they're working in the background. Then, like the last couple of months, they've just dropped so many things. But being there in person, getting a chance to spend time with the team, have meals with them, be able to pick their brains, ask questions. We had in Denver, we had two Earth Node Alliance World Mobile team meetups where we were able to just hang out with everybody, the community, the World Mobile team. We had an Earth Node operators private meeting with James Tagg and Mickey in Denver, where we were just able to ask questions freely, and it wasn't like, you don't have that shyness or that stage fright where, do I want to come up on Twitter where everyone's going to see me? This was a private thing where we could basically ask the dumbest questions, or the ones that are maybe concerning to us but not to others. Same thing in Las Vegas. We were able to have a meetup where we just hung out and had food and spent time with the team, with a lot of access because people were there, and at times it's almost like we were looking for work. We were looking for things to do. And so a lot of opportunity to pick their brains, to ask these questions, to let them know our thoughts as well. And I think that when you are able to do something like that, when you're able to be around these people that you follow, that maybe even a little bit, hate to say it, but idolize, we think so highly of these guys, and then we get to spend time with them, and we get to hear their thoughts, and they get to, see us and get to know us a little bit too. It's that connection, that connectivity, that made everything real for me, and it made it a lot more motivating for me to want to get even more involved. And then also just being able to spend time with the other members of the community, the people that also believe in World Mobile, that want to operate Earth nodes or operate Air nodes, that hold the token, that are in the spaces, they're on the internet, and they're in the chats. Being able to make real life friends with these people that you usually just messaging back and forth. It made it fun. It made it something that this is not just a business transaction for us anymore. This is friendship. This is family. This is a shared vision that we have. And so more so than getting the alpha or getting the extra stuff, it was making and forging those relationships that made both of those meetups and both of those conventions very special.
Wonderfully said. I think my biggest takeaway again was the amount of networking that took place there. Again, like you said, hanging out with Mickey, myself personally being able to shoot 2 back-to-back interviews with him, seeing Mike, seeing James, and just seeing, Nick, all these different members that we get to hear from on a monthly basis, but finally getting to shake their hands. So a really big shout out to the team for making it out to both events. And they all came from all over the world. So again, I think that goes to show their commitment to their community. And the World Mobile community has to be one of the strongest. Anytime that I post anything on Twitter, I tend to get the most engagement from the World Mobile community. So I just want to take a quick moment to shout out everybody that we got here as a part of today's live stream. I see Texas Hold'em, Beam Note, always sharing the content. I do appreciate it. Dominic Shepard, we've got Friso, we've got Jeffrey, we've got Mostradamus, we've got Clover Notes, of course, Just a Gal, Colin Smith from Mav 100, we've got Lord tuning in, we've got Leroy Essel, and so many others. Again, you guys, I do appreciate it. Now, before we dive into the nitty gritty, which is going to be obviously some of the biggest highlights, including the Aerostat launch, let's get a little bit of both of your guys' background. So maybe let's kick things back over to Clover Nodes. Do you mind giving us an introduction as to who you are, what you're doing, and how you're contributing to the World Mobile community?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, my name is Cal, but most of you know me under Clover Notes. And I am a stake pool operator on Cardano. Our stake pool is a mission-driven pool. We donate 25% of our proceeds to a charity, a foundation, actually. It's not really a charity. It's a foundation. It's called Direct Debt Development Foundation. They have blockchain programs for students in Africa, and they teach them on coding and stuff like that. And I am also a Earth node operator on the World Mobile Network. I'm heavily involved in World Mobile. I do a weekly roundup every other week, and I kind of give news to people, what happens around World Mobile. And yeah, I'm involved in a lot of different things. Me and Rob run the Earth Node Alliance, and Theo as well, Chef. Most of you know him under Chef. And yeah, that's about it for me, in a little bit of a short introduction from me.
I love it. I love the mission that you're bringing to the space with the donations from the stake pool. Again, a real act of selflessness. Rob, your turn. Go right ahead.
Well, as you said, I'm Rob. I got into Cardano as a delegator, and very shortly after, I thought, well, I wanted to become a stake pool operator, and I had to learn how to do that. So eventually, I was able to, with the help of a couple of really good friends, get a stake pool started, and they actually operated it for me. And then I was just the guy that made the noise for it. It was my pledge, it was my pool, but I had some technical people helping out. And eventually, I wanted to learn how to do this on my own. So again, with the help of some friends, I was taught how to do it. I took over the stake pool operations about almost 2 years ago now. And as I was operating the stake pool, I learned about World Mobile, and I said, I watched the Smart Village video, and I said, this seems right. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to be a part of. So I got into World Mobile the moment that U.S. citizens could properly buy WMT. I know some guys got in early because they had an international sale, but the moment I could actually get WMT while living in the U.S. Without bending anything or finding a sneaky way to do what I did, and reserved an Earth node. So once the incentivized testnet and mainnet come online, I'll be operating Earth nodes for World Mobile. last year it was called Rare Bloom last year in 2022. I met Cal for the first time. I'd been following him on Twitter, and together with Chef Theo, we got together. We had a small meetup for Earth Node operators and decided there that we need to do something because at the time there was really nothing going on with the community. And we said we need to be the first community group to get going because everyone was sitting there, they're taking what World Mobile was delivering, but there wasn't a whole lot of activity. It was just waiting and waiting and waiting for more. And you could tell that people wanted more. So we started the Earth Node Alliance, and that started out as uh, a Twitter space that we would just try to get people together. We built a website just so we could get to know the community and advertise for them, and that way we're able to not just push a message out through spaces every couple of weeks, but now we know who each other are. We can communicate privately or do things together as groups. And so that's been a huge push, I think, for the World Mobile community, because instead of just a Telegram chat or responding to postings by the World Mobile team, we actually have some community that we're able to build off of. And you're starting to see more and more activity. You're starting to see more people that are doing things such as YouTube videos or hosting their own spaces, things that really you didn't see a whole lot of that. And now it's becoming more commonplace because the community is more active and we're able to get to know each other. And it was fun to be one of the first groups to start really pushing that with the Earth Node Alliance. So I think that's kind of my main involvement. With the Earth Node Alliance, we've done a couple of meetups at, as we mentioned, Denver and Las Vegas. We kind of pushed and got some communication with the World Mobile team, and we're able to make those connections and make some of these hangouts and these social things happen as well.
Thank you for the awesome intro. I think the both of you have captivated the World Mobile community. Again, I see a lot of you guys already interacting. I see the both of you, interacting with the community, but you guys are also hosting Twitter Spaces, which normally you guys would actually do these on today, but I believe because you guys are taking a break, we're now able to do these lives. So for the viewers, if you guys are enjoying this type of content, definitely let us know down below. I personally would love to have additional ENOs on this particular platform to get their perspectives as well, right? I think the more, the merrier. And it's always really interesting to hear different people's perspectives. And so I want to thank the both of you for your contributions into the Cardano ecosystem. And now that the community knows you guys a little bit better, not that the majority of people watching don't already know you, right? Let's go ahead and just dive right on into today's show. So the next thing I want to do is just quickly take a look at WMT scan. We're going to take a look at some of the stats and see what your guys' thoughts are surrounding that. But then we're going to jump into the meat of things, right? Which I believe the biggest thing is going to be the recent Aerostat launch. So Mozambique, right, was the one that just happened. A lot of people were anticipating other potential locations, and I kind of want to get what your guys' thoughts are surrounding that as well. Now, after that, the World Mobile team has also launched their eSIM product, right? And we now have, I believe, 3 different packages. So I also want to kind of get your thoughts as to how you guys think the rollout on that end is going. But then number 2, how comparable those prices are to other data providers or other data packages that may be available to you guys in your local area. Last but not least, there was a recent expansion article into the state of Oregon that I want to jump into. And then there's also a recent partnership with an AI-driven customer and workforce experience platform that just took place no less than 48 hours ago. So tons to talk about. I'm not sure if we're going to have a lot of time given the fact that we did start a little bit late. I want to respect the both of your guys' time. So if either one of you have to jump off, definitely make sure to let me know. I will not hesitate to let you guys go. I do appreciate you guys giving me this amount of time and just bearing with me through some of the technical issues that we've had today. I can promise you that the next stream will be on time and we're not going to have any of the issues that we had or that we're plagued by with today. So that said, let's jump into the very first topic, which is going to be WMT scan. So let me quickly share my screen here. For anybody who's not aware, you can head over to WMTscan.com to take a look at the latest when it comes to the health of the World Mobile Network. As of right now, we've got the price there at the very top left-hand corner, right at above 0.12 cents or about 12 cents per token. We've got a market cap of $57 million, total supply of 2 billion tokens with about 457 million currently circulating. Now, some of the interesting stuff is a little bit lower, where we now have a total of 474 air nodes with over 1.74 terabytes consumed in the last 24 hours. I don't know about you guys, but I've been keeping track of WMT scan for the past couple of months, and it seems like the amount of network consumption has been on an uptick or rising as of the last couple of months. So really positive news, at least from my end. Now, with respect to the unique users, we have 13,000, which I believe at the peak we had about 20 to 21,000 or so unique users. So that does seem to be a little bit lower. Last but not least, we have a total network uptime of 527 days, which is quite the testament, right? What's really interesting is that Cardano's been on a really long uptime streak as well, and we're starting to see the very same thing with the uptime for the World Mobile Network. So Rob or Cal, or Clover knows, I should say, either one of you want to chime in when it comes to some of the updates here with respect to WMT scan?
Yeah, I'm excited to see that we're seeing some very important numbers go up, some very important metrics here. For example, I remember when everyone was making a big deal for whatever reason. I don't. I'm a police officer in real life, so maybe I don't get the fuss about stuff. But I remember when we hit 420 air nodes, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's a great number." Whatever. But
420.
that was wasn't too long ago, and it seems like every week we're adding more. I mean, I remember when this was in the 200s, and it's been increasing and increasing. And some days, some weeks will add 3, some weeks will add 25. But that number's going up, and that means that, I mean, those are expensive pieces of equipment that people are buying. Again, as Mickey said on these spaces, on interviews that he's done, originally the first 100, 200 that they put out there were World Mobile owned in Zanzibar, and people are starting to take some ownership of this network, of this sharing economy now, and people are buying Earth nodes and putting them up. These aren't just all World Mobile owned at this point. So you're starting to see some people getting excited about it and wanting to be a part of the sharing economy. So I think that really that's exciting for the total number of air nodes. Network consumption, like you mentioned, I remember when it was at 1 terabyte, and it's been climbing and climbing and climbing. And even with the unique number of users going down over 24 hours, you got to look at a number of things that could weigh in on that. I mean, for example, you're in Zanzibar, which has a predominantly Muslim population, and Friday into Saturday is typically their day where they go to pray, and they go to their services. And so there could be other things culturally as well why the weekend is a little bit lower there as far as unique users, but the terabyte consumption is up. People are using it. And again, we're seeing this because what's happening is these are at this point paying users. And so as World Mobile is bringing in money, what they're doing, they're taking a significant percentage of what they're bringing in, and they're buying back WMT for the buyback, which was the next line on the actual thing. And you're seeing that going up to, it's over 265,000 WMT that they've bought back. And this only started, what, 2 months ago, maybe? And they're doing usually weekly buybacks. So they're taking a percentage of what they're earning in Zanzibar, and they are buying back with that. So this is a profitable enterprise, as and again, they're not buying and operating these air nodes themselves. So seeing that the community is taking ownership, the community is spending the money, the community is using the network, and World Mobile is able to profit off of that, while still being a part of the sharing economy. Those are great metrics that really, really excite me.
Clover Nodes, over to you. Any thoughts surrounding the stats or the buyback?
Yeah, so my thoughts are just like Rob's. I mean, like he mentioned, normally the network consumption goes down a little bit on the weekends. That's what we've noticed when we look over at WMT scan. But the unique users, which is the good part, is that it stays steadily around like 13 and 14,000. And another thing that I would like to point out is the amount of new nodes we've been seeing go up recently. I mean, just the past weekend when we had our previous Twitter space, it was like at 461 nodes, and they just added 13 new nodes. And I remember back in the day when we used to get excited when they used to add 1 or 2 nodes, and right now the numbers are like popping up left and right. And it's just amazing how fast this sharing economy is growing in Zanzibar. And another thing that I really, really like is that World Mobile is strategically placing these nodes at these tourist locations. So they're not only growing the shared economy, but they're also, in a way, growing local businesses, which is very important, and also the main reason really to grow the shared economy. I mean, I run a business. It's an e-commerce business, and I know how important internet is. And I can contest. It's probably the same thing for these people as well, where they have these hotels on the beach, or they have these cafes, and the fact that now they have internet, and they can increase their business, and they can increase their customers. So it's very good, to see all of that. And then I also really like when World Mobile posts all these blogs of people that are not connected, and it just shows how important connectivity is in Zanzibar. Another thing that really excites me is the fact that we're going to be seeing Pakistan go up on WMT scan very, very soon. Last we heard, it's probably going to happen next week. I'm assuming that the team is just fine tuning the last bits of them adding that. And that right there in itself is just absolutely amazing, because World Mobile, did not have a single person go in there and basically launch these air nodes. They had an ISP that they used to roll the air nodes out in Pakistan. So the fact that World Mobile is not even there, but the sharing economy is growing in itself in Pakistan, just shows, how powerful this thing can get, And it's not only in Pakistan. I'm sure we'll talk about, the United States and what's happening here. But it's just amazing to see it, and I like the fact that there is a centric location where we can go and just check all the network stats, and then see all the air nodes, and see how much consumption they're consuming, and how much air node revenue everything is making. I mean, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see the top 10 air nodes by revenue, and the top one's like making like $60, and I mean, I've seen it go up to like almost $100 right there. And I'm not sure how much people in Zanzibar are making on a monthly basis, but I can't imagine it's more than 150 $200. So the idea that you can make half your salary just by hosting one of these air nodes is just mind blowing. And this is going to be evident in every single third world location that World Mobile gets into.
This is why I brought the both of you guys on here. Again, I want to thank you guys. Such an awesome perspective. I want to highlight one thing that Rob mentioned earlier with, the religious aspect of things. That completely flew over my head. That wasn't something that I even took into consideration. But when you're looking at a 24-hour rolling cycle, something like that is huge to keep in mind. And then to what Clover Note just mentioned about, the blogs and the articles talking about different people being connected. That's exactly what World Mobile's mission is, right? To connect the unconnected and to serve the underserved. So to see the real world impact that we're having at such an early stage, again, is a really great sign. One thing that stood out to me after the Rare Evo event was just how many people reach out to me surrounding how to stake World Mobile and how to get involved with World Mobile. I even had other content creators reaching out and saying, hey, World Mobile, like I've got my eye on them. Like I want to be a part of this thing now. And again, I think you guys are both well positioned to be at the very forefront because you guys were here from the very beginning, and you guys have done so much for the ENO community and the World Mobile community in general. Now let's take a quick break here. We have a lot of comments coming in. I want to thank everybody again for tuning in and just interacting with us as a part of this live stream. We've got a couple questions, and I'll just kind of turn these over to you guys here. It looks like Clover Notes does have to cool off his camera here, so we're going to just take him down for a second, and as soon as he's ready, we'll bring him back up. But Rob, let me maybe just throw this at you. We've got a question coming in here from Hamet. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Hamet Lee. Any input on how to become a node operator?
Well, I guess the question is, are we referring to an earth node operator or an air node operator? Because they're two distinctly different things. The air node is kind of the the public router, if you in a sense. It's the one that you'd hang up and it puts out the signal that you're able to connect your cell phone to, get data connected to, and that's going to be more of a less software based, more hardware based. You need to be able to install or have somebody install this for you, be able to connect internet to it so that it can broadcast and act as a relay to put out signal. An AirNode is going to be they're going to be available. Operation AirNode is coming soon. If you're interested in getting involved with AirNodes, join.worldmobile.io is the website. Join.worldmobile.io, and that's going to be allowing you to sign up for the whitelisting for the purchasing these physical objects, these AirNodes. And what's nice about those is, if there's going to be opportunities for folks who don't even need to know how to do this. They can just invest. They can buy one of these, and they can have it strategically placed and have an operator somewhere else doing it for them, whether it be someone they find or somebody that World Mobile connects with as well. So if you wanted to own the hardware, own the telecoms and the cellular network and the devices that broadcast that, this is the way to go. Join.worldmobile.io that you have the page pull up for. As far as an Earth node, there's a lot more to that. The first thing that you'd have to do is you have to physically own, or I guess physically, because it's all data driven, but you have to own an Earth node NFT. That is the keys. That is the permission to access the World Mobile network to operate an Earth node. And as you can see right here, the floor right here, 122,500 ADA is what they're selling for right now. This is the key. This is all based on Ubuntu, which is a Linux-driven system. You need to have some coding and some training in Linux in order to be able to do this, and then you'll need to be able to operate servers, whether they're cloud servers online or bare metal physical servers as well. But you'll need to be able to install the software package, have the key by owning the NFT, and then being able to monitor to update that. Now, there's a great network of EarthNode operators that we have. There's a couple of Telegram chats, as well as the official Discord chat and World Mobile Discord that give advice on how to do these things. There's walkthroughs, there's some instructions, but it's not just a point and click kind of thing. You need to have some sort of training experience, practice running Ubuntu in order to best make this work. So again, there's a lot that goes into the Earth node. It's a little bit of a learning curve if you're not familiar with that, and there's definitely a financial curve. The one thing to remember, if you are considering buying one of these Earth nodes, is when all these Earth nodes were reserved, I believe it was back in January, we sent our reservations in to get the NFT. We had to send via a smart contract 100,000 WMT. And so in every one of these Earth node NFTs, there is locked up a contract for 100,000 WMT. So even though it's 122,000 ADA right now, you'll have to pay that, but there's an embedded value within that NFT. So if you ever needed to forfeit it, if you're worried about, could this potentially just go to zero and I lose everything? There's at least that in there, so people can maybe feel a bit better about spending that kind of money on that.
Thank you for the breakdown there, not only on how to operate the Air node, but also on how to operate the Earth node. Now, there's another question here, and maybe I'll pass this one over to Clover. And I've actually got an article to back this up, but I do want to give a quick shout out to Wave Notes for actually also providing an answer in the chat there. That's, again, what I really love about this community, right? Even as we're chatting, there's other ENOs or other members contributing to the ecosystem that are also answering these questions in chat. So the second question is going to be coming in from Behold the Cross. And this reads, how does the World Mobile team intend to distribute the bought back WMT to Earth node operators? Now, I have an article pulled up here, so I'm not putting you on the hot seat, Cal. But if you want to maybe take a shot at this, or even Rob, you guys let me know. But there's an article here for anybody who's wondering about the World Mobile buyback program, which we just discussed a little bit ago. And this is available at worldmobiletoken.com/blog. And so, again, I think they do a really good job of putting together all this information. But for anybody who's not aware, there's going to be three key features here of the buyback, right? So, number one is going to be to support the sharing economy. Number two, to build a sustainable ecosystem. And then number three, to continue the expansion of the actual buyback program itself. Now, it reads here, the tokens purchased via the buyback program will be redistributed as rewards, supporting the growth of World Mobile's sharing economy while bolstering the stability and utility of the overall ecosystem. So I kind of maybe stole your limelight there, Clover. But do you maybe want to add anything surrounding the buyback program and how the World Mobile team may potentially redistribute these rewards back over to holders?
Yeah, so the buyback program is a program that World Mobile has in order to essentially purchase tokens from the open market and distribute to Earth node operators. So it's essentially the use case of the token itself. So you would have customers that are using the network, right, and they're doing top ups with their local fiat currency. At that point, World Mobile Treasury will store these funds, right, and it would complete these buybacks, and then after that, World Mobile will be deploying these tokens to Earth node operators, and this is essentially how they're rewarding Earth node operators for securing the network itself. And in that case, World Mobile then essentially, yeah, this is how the whole cycle of the token in itself works, and how the buyback program is structured. And the cool part about the token, there is a limited caps supply. So the token itself and essentially would increase in value, not financial advice, that is. But this is in a nutshell how the buyback program works.
One thing to really focus in on there is when Earth node operators are getting paid to operate the network, there's a couple of different revenue streams that will come in from that. One of them, the most pronounced one at the beginning, is going to be from the treasury. They have it set up so there'll be rewards that whittle down over time. I believe they call it deflationary rewarding, but it'll start off a lot higher, and then as the treasury gets a bit more depleted with what they pre-allocated for that, the rewards will get smaller on that. But there's other revenue streams within operating the Earth node. Some of the value added services they're going to do, like a VPN service, storage as a service, things like that, and they have things allocated to pay from what they are earning when you do this. When they're doing the buybacks are going to go back to the Earth node operators as a form of payment when the deflationary rewards go down. And one of the reasons they're doing this is because whether it's Earth node operators, whether it's WMT hodlers, as they decide, hey, I want to take a little bit of profit. I want to do something where I am, making sure not all my holdings are in WMT or in crypto. They're going to sell. And what happens when there's selling pressure on the market? The price goes down. And so in order to stabilize that price, what they're doing is they're saying, we're going to take the profits that we're earning from the network, we're going to buy the token back, which is going to increase it. And then as the price, hopefully that levels off over time, you might see a bit of ebb and flow, but the goal is to maintain a stable price, especially as we expand the network. The more users we have, as Cal said, there's a finite amount of WMT. I think it's 2 billion as a total, and that's going to take 20 plus years for all that to get released. But as more users come on, they're going to want to have WMT in their app, and so that way they get maybe discounts on the service. They're able to pay for their cellular service with the WMT, but they're going to want to hold it. And so as more users come on, they're going to hold these things. Like Cal said, the value at that point hopefully goes up because people are holding, World Mobile is buying, and then when we're selling, we're selling back to the open market, but hopefully that's being gobbled up by World Mobile itself and the new users. So it maintains a stable price, but at some point, I think you're going to start to see an increase there as well. So, like I said, a lot of thoughts gone into this. It's not just a hey, let's just print an infinite amount of tokens and hopefully that people buy enough that number goes up. It's no, there's a fixed amount and there's strategic deployment for how all these tokens are to go out and in different ways and different types of rewards for the different user groups.
Wonderfully said. And I'm learning along the way as well. So thank you both for the insight there when it comes to the buyback program and the distribution and just the impact of the actual program itself. Now, for anybody who actually wants to keep up with the World Mobile team, I do want to just highlight something before we take one last question. There's going to be an upcoming call. I believe this is going to be the monthly roundup breaking down everything that happened as of the month of September of 2023. Now, this includes updates surrounding their World Mobile global application, which is now rolled out, I believe, over 15 plus different countries. They're also going to be talking about Mobile World Congress, which took place in Las Vegas. Don't confuse that for NFTLV, even though the team was in town for both of those events right around the same time. And then they're also going to be jumping into their brand new website, or their revamped website, which is also live right now. Now, there's one more question I want to jump into. This is going to be coming in from Leroy Ethel. And he's actually got a two-piece question here. So either one of you feel free to go ahead and just jump in or chime in if you guys have the answer. So it states here, air nodes were installed at Reno, Nevada, and they're supposed to be providing cell service, but for how many different customers? And I think that this has been somewhat private. I'm not sure if you guys have any information surrounding that. That was his first question. And then there's a second question here surrounding the actual connectivity process when you're driving by an air node. So it reads from Leroy, when somebody drives by an earth node using his cell phone, does his phone automatically connect to the World Mobile network without their knowledge? Either one of you want to take either of those questions coming in from Leroy?
I'll jump on. So I'll go on the second question, and then you can bring back the first question. But when you drive around, you're not essentially able to connect to an earth node, but you are able to connect to air nodes. So if you have the World Mobile eSIM, essentially you would connect to World Mobile infrastructure where there is an air nodes installed. So that's the point of air nodes growing the network. And when you drive around this laid out infrastructure, you would essentially receive a discount, right? Because you're roaming on top of the infrastructure. And after that, you would be connected to the World Mobile Network. So that's an answer to the second question. And can you bring up the first question again? I already forgot it. Sorry. Air nodes installed at Reno, Nevada was reported to be providing cell phones. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is essentially one of the locations where World Mobile is launching at the moment. North California. There is two different bands that World Mobile is currently using. It's band 48, which is a CBRS band. And I've been doing a little bit of research on these things because I just kind of find it funny. I mean, not funny. I find it actually not funny, but I find it very educational. So this is why I'm like spending the time and learning these things. And then there's also a band 71. This is a licensed band that they acquired for 4 different states. So yeah, this is essentially where World Mobile is testing the network. And this is where I believe the Operation Air Nodes will be released in the beginning, essentially. So with that said, yeah, I believe this is where the first air nodes will be released in Nevada, in Reno, actually, to be specific.
Thank you for that, Cal. I'll be keeping my eyes peeled. Rob, did you want to add anything surrounding either of those two comments before we move along?
Yeah. I wanted to kind of touch base on the first one, or actually, well, both of them real quick. As far as the ones in Reno, they shared with us a little while back. They plugged one in and they just set up one, and they had over 10,000 unique connections in a 24-hour period in one location in Reno. So that was really, people got really excited about that because that's a lot of cell phones either driving by or within the immediate area that connected to that. As far as when he asked the question about if someone drives by and uses their cell phone, does it automatically connect without their knowledge? The answer to that's yes as well. The way it works with cell phone companies are They all have their towers and they're all their repeaters and the relays spread out, and they have different coverage areas, and a lot of them don't like to double up because it costs a lot of money. And so what they'll do is they have agreements with each other. AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, all the different companies that have the big infrastructure, even companies like Mint Mobile that don't even have any towers, don't even have any relays. They pay and they rent these towers and these broadcast services from the companies. So you're driving down the highway, you're driving down the interstate, and you're on your phone. You're seamlessly jumping every few miles between different towers, and you might have a Verizon account, and all of a sudden you're on an AT&T tower or a T-Mobile, or the different towers there, but your accounts with Verizon. So what happens is Verizon, they recognize and acknowledge, hey, my customer's on this tower. They have an agreement and they pay a small amount of money. That we're talking probably millions and probably billions of different connections that they work out with the algorithm and everything. But every month they reconcile. And so what's going to happen is with World Mobile, there's a couple different ways that we're going to make money as a network, by having these air nodes up. The first one is just by having the broadcast signal where there's no other signal, or where ours is the strongest. People are going to drive by and they're going to seamlessly go from Verizon to World Mobile to AT&T back to Verizon, and then they hit another patch where there's a World Mobile air node. They're going to connect to that one again. And so all these connections are going to bring in rental fees from the other companies. So you don't even have to be a member of World Mobile to help support the network, because you're bouncing your signal off of somebody else's air node that's set up to the World Mobile network, and that's going to bring activity, and that's going to bring in income for the air node operator. It's going to bring activity that's going to get processed onto the blockchain by way of the Earth node. So it's going to bring activity for the Earth node operators because they're finalizing those transactions on the back end. So that's the first way of profiting when you're using the air node signal. The other way is actually when you sign up as a member of World Mobile, they are your telecom company. So you're going to pay your monthly fee, whatever, however much it is per month that you're used to paying. You're going to pay them, and they're going to then take that money to help support the network. And if you're driving around and you're a World Mobile customer, but you bounce off a Verizon tower, World Mobile, because they have this agreement, is going to pay a small amount to Verizon for the usage of their tower. And we're talking probably fractions of a penny per connection or per minute, or I don't know what the nitty gritty of it is, but that way you're able to be a World Mobile member, even if there's not a lot of air nodes in your area, and you'll be able to support that network, and World Mobile is still able to profit and grow and expand, even if, again, you're not hitting the air nodes. Now, if you are a World Mobile member and you're hitting the air nodes, like Cal said, that's where the discounts come in. That's where the benefits come in, because now they're not paying those other companies, so they're able to charge less. They're able to do more for their clients because their clients are actually using the World Mobile network and not somebody else's that they're paying rental fees to.
Sounds to me like a symbiotic relationship, right? Where if you're not interacting with anybody else, a lot of the revenue goes towards World Mobile. But in the event that you do end up, touching or utilizing somebody else's infrastructure, it's almost like a win-win, where World Mobile is able to get a piece of the pie, while whoever's infrastructure was used in the process is also able to benefit from that as well. Again, I want to thank the both of you for answering those questions, and hopefully, Leroy, that gives you a little bit more clarity as to what you were asking about. I see we've got Cardano Chef Talk in the house, aka Theo. Welcome aboard. It was a pleasure meeting yourself as well as Daniel Friedman in person, right, at the Rare Evo and the NFTLV events. Huge shout out to you as well, ENO, and huge supporter of the World Mobile community. All right, guys, we are 43 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten to the main talking point for today's video. I think that goes to just really show how engaged the community is. And again, you guys are dropping so much knowledge. I'm able to kind of kick back during this live stream and also learn along with you guys. So I want to thank you both again for your time. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, please make sure to share it out both on YouTube as well as on X. You guys should be able to see us streaming live right now on both of those platforms. All right, let's jump into the main content here for today's video, and we're going to try to obviously time box this, but I think there's so much that we can talk about here. It's probably going to take us through the remaining portion of today's stream. So let me bring this back on stage. I think everybody watching this stream is probably more than aware, but we finally have an achievement unlocked. The first ever aerostat from the World Mobile team going up in the continent of Africa. And it was quite a huge assessment for myself to realize that this was the first ever commercial aerostat in the actual country. So not just a milestone within Mozambique, but a milestone for the entire country, or the entire continent, I should say, as a whole. And so to that end, we've now seen the very first aerostat. A lot of people are now wondering, when number 2, when number 3, when number 4, and where will those aerostats go up? But what are your guys' first impressions, given the fact that this was something that has been in the works for multiple years now, and you guys have been following this project week in and week out?
I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. It's taking us a very long time, and everyone's been very, very patient with this. But I feel like now it's here, and everyone, you can see the entire community is just super, super excited for this aerostat to be up in the air, and like you said, Fareed, I mean, it's the first commercial launch, not only in Africa but in the entire world, which is absolutely amazing. And to see it happen, it's in real life. It's incredible. I wanted to point out that the aerostat was launched in a rural village in Mozambique. And the cool part about all of this is that the aerostat, it's actually part of the sharing economy. I mean, they call it a super air node, so people eventually will be able to purchase one of these things and put it up wherever you are. So that right there is incredible to know and to see. And yeah, I see you putting up all these videos in the air, and it's incredible to see this aerostat up. They go up pretty high too. I believe they're like up to like 1,000 meters, and then they can cover about like 70 miles or 80 miles. So I'm really excited to see it up in the air, and I'm really excited to see where we are going to be seeing these aerostats launch next. I would love to see an aerostat here in the United States. I know that they did a test launch in New Hampshire already. And I would love to see them pop up everywhere around the world, just because having this aerostat, it's, Mickey always says, it's about 12 times cheaper to launch these things versus regular, cell phone towers. So it's just incredible to see it up. It's incredible to see the community react to it and just be really excited about it. And yeah, I'm super, super pumped as well to see it up there in Mozambique. Yeah.
Rob, take it away.
I know that they put a lot of hard work into this, and again, it's one thing to get the announcements, to see these things, but it's another to get to know the people behind it and realize who they are as people. And I even asked Mickey at Denver. I said, he was doing all these different things. I looked at him and said, Mickey, have you slept yet? And it'd been like, we're on day 3. He goes, no. I said, are you going to? He goes, yeah, on the flight back home. I mean, these guys, they work tirelessly, and I know there's a lot of frustration. And Mickey's come out and said it a little bit, where they're trying to get one launched in a different location, and there is just a bunch of red tape that came up almost as they're preparing to launch. I mean, it was just so many different things that would come up, and they kept getting just pushed back for one reason or another. And so they, as you said, they're going to go in one location, and then they said, nope, we're moving on. And the moment that Mozambique agreed to let them do it, the other location came back, oh no, we're ready for you, it's like, hey, that's great, but where were you 10 months ago? Where were you 11 months ago? So a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of legal things to go through, and they've made it happen. And a lot of times, it's not that World Mobile isn't delivering, it's all the things that they have to fight through to make this happen, because there's a lot of people that are heavily invested in things that don't want to see this succeed. And so that's what's so exciting about seeing some of these partnerships and some of these agreements and things that they've been announcing recently, where it's like, no, now they're starting to see some big dogs coming into this fight and saying, no, we're backing World Mobile. We want to see this succeed. And so I think the pushback is we're going to start to see it a lot less, as World Mobile is able to deliver these things. So it's very easy to be impatient, but I think that they're proceeding in a way that's manageable, that they can duplicate this, that things are happening at the right time for the right reasons. And so I'm ecstatic for it. I'm ecstatic for them. They've worked so hard for this, and I think that it's going to benefit the people in Mozambique immensely. And I'm looking forward to, and I think this is really cool. Mozambique is going to be that beacon that, hey, let's do it like them, as opposed to, um, having the US or Great Britain or somewhere like that have this be the first. Everyone trying to mimic that. It's nope. We want to mimic what they're doing in Mozambique, Africa. How cool is that? That they are the ones that we are all trying to, with this duplication of the sharing economy. We're trying to do what's going on in Mozambique and in Zanzibar.
Wonderfully said. I think they're now going to be the pioneers, right? Forever. They're etched. You can't undo that. And so any other aerostat that comes after this, not to say that it's going to be any less thrilling, but it's not going to have that same aura and the same amount of passion that just went into getting that first one up, ever. And so I want to just shout out the entire team. Again, this was something that I try to cover as much as possible on my channel. And it was just so exhilarating to see this finally come to fruition. Now, you did mention something there, Rob, that I want to just dig into a little bit further, and that was surrounding security, right? So obviously we're huge supporters of World Mobile, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else is. And so one thing that came up to my mind, and I did a recent live space with Cardano with Paul, and I just maybe posing the same question, was like, what about security? So what are you guys' thoughts surrounding the security of the aerostats? Obviously, they're huge, they're tethered, but you can't miss them, right? So for anybody who maybe isn't a huge supporter of World Mobile, what are your thoughts just surrounding that? I think, for example, if we take a look at the security of air nodes, because there's so many, yes, you can take one down, right? But there's going to be so many next to it that it may not have as big of an impact as if we were to take down, for example, an aerostat. Now, a few other questions come to mind. How would you even be able to take down an aerostat? But I think that security has to be at the top of mind because, again, not everybody's going to be a supporter of what World Mobile is doing, especially if they are a direct competitor to World Mobile, where their business is not going to be threatened by what World Mobile is doing with this new revolution. Either one of you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, I'll jump in there first. You think of like the old Bugs Bunny cartoons where they had, he's floating on the balloon, trying to go over the mountain, and somebody shoots a dart at it, and then the balloon does this and goes all over and crashes. That's not the case with what World Mobile's aerostats do. We even asked about it. What if somebody decides to just take a rifle and just shoot at it, put a bunch of holes in it? Well, because helium is lighter than air, it's going to, if it comes down, it's going to slowly and levelly come down. It's not going to be like the balloon on the cartoon. So then they'd be able to patch it, repair it, put it back up, and just repair it, slap some duct tape or whatever they got to do and refill it with a helium. I like what Mickey said though about this, because we talked about this, and this has come up several times in different spaces and different calls that he's been on. This is not, I mean, World Mobile is maybe supplying the technology here, but that aerostat costs, I think, $1.5 million. Somebody's buying that. Somebody's making that investment. World Mobile has a couple of them, but the goal is to make this a community driven thing. Just like with the air nodes, people are buying the air nodes. It's not World Mobile placing all these towers and all these things. So what's going to happen is people are going to take ownership of this. And what happens if that aerostat comes down? The community loses out. So the community is going to have a vested interest. It's just like if there's only one well in the middle of the desert, they're going to make sure that's properly maintained and nobody's poisoning it. Same with this. Is if this thing goes down, then people are going to lose their connectivity. So people are going to have a vested interest in making sure that this thing stays up, that it's properly maintained, because they're taking ownership of this, because it immediately reflects them and affects them. And it's not something, World Mobile will just buy another one and fix it. No, this is not world mobile infrastructure, just like Cal said with Pakistan. Not one boot on the ground in Pakistan, yet there's a network that I think when that goes on WMT scan is going to really excite a lot of people with the amount of air nodes and the amount of usage. So again, that's the real beauty of the sharing economy is it's not some company saying, hey, we're going to do this for you and you owe us. It's nope, we're going to set you guys in a position where you can do it for yourselves. We'll be there to help and guide as we along the way, but this is not us, it is you. So it's on you guys to take care of it.
Clover nodes. Any thoughts surrounding this?
Well, first of all, I apologize about my camera. I don't know what's happening here. Little technical difficulties. I have to fix this camera. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give a little example here with my e-commerce business, just to give a different perspective of things. So, I don't know what I have here in the office. Verizon, I believe, 5G. So essentially, when my internet goes down here, the first thing I do is, I freak out and I call Verizon and I get it back up, So my entire business stops. So same thing with an aerostat. First of all, an aerostat cannot just be shot down, like Rob said. I mean, it uses helium. So even if shot down, it's not going to just phase down like a balloon, it just can't pop this thing, So it has protection. It goes down slowly, and also another thing, and the reason why I gave this example essentially is because people are going to be utilizing this aerostat for their businesses, and they're going to be using this internet for their businesses. So I don't, per se see why anyone would want to take down their business and take it offline, especially when they're making money off of it. So that to me, it just does not make any sense. But not to say that there might not be instances like that. However, I'm assuming they're going to be very rare because I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but the United States government, the Border Patrol, they also use aerostats for surveillance. And if you Google how many aerostats have been taken down, then you would get an idea how many people go out there and shoot aerostats. And I don't think many do. I don't think many people go around to be shooting these things down for whatever reason. So to me, the security, it's there, especially if you're the owner of this aerostat and you've spent a bunch of money. I'm assuming that you might want to have some sort of security on board there. But even if you don't, people, in my opinion, are not just going to be going around and shooting these things down. That's just what I believe.
Yeah, I think the vested community interest comes to mind. And like you said, taking a look at other platforms that also use aerostats and maybe looking at their statistics also gives us a really good idea as to what could potentially happen and just the likelihood of that. Again, it's not to say that it's a definitive thing, but I always think it's wise to be aware of just what you might be getting yourself into, especially in some of these countries where World Mobile may not have a huge stakehold when it comes to the network, right? That's exactly why they're picking these areas, is because they're underserved, because there's these gaps, and they're trying to best fill them using the World Mobile Network. Now, to that end, one thing that has also come up to my mind has just been the stats surrounding the aerostats. So right now we have WMT scan, where we can see all the different statistics about the air nodes in the air nodes per revenue, or the revenue per air nodes, I should say. But what are you guys' thoughts surrounding, getting similar statistics, but maybe for the aerostat instead, right? So being able to see, how many people have connected to an aerostat, how much data has been processed through an aerostat, et cetera. Any maybe thoughts about something that could be captured when it comes to data that we're maybe not able to get right now with the air node data?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in there and quickly say that, like I said in the beginning, aerostat is essentially an air node. It's a super air node. That's what it's called. And I believe that the aerostat will be showing data on WMT scan eventually, whenever it's fully up and fully functional and people are utilizing it and connecting to it. So Yeah, I would say that it definitely would be shown on the network map. And what I'm really excited about is to see the actual coverage of it. Just when you like zoom in and on WMT scan, you can see like how far each air node covers and the ground it covers. But it'd be awesome to see like this big giant, yellow circle around Mozambique, and covering all these people there. So that's going to be really awesome to see on the WMT scan. But yeah, I would assume that they would definitely put it up there and show how many people are connecting to it and all the data usage and all of this other stats.
All right, Rob, any closing thoughts here surrounding the aerostat launch, the data, anything just related to this before we move along into the data packages and the brand new eSIM information that was just released?
I think that it's going to be huge, especially for the more rural areas because of the broadcast distance on these things. It's not probably you could probably get more bang for your buck in a city where you have several air nodes that maybe have a shorter distance, but can all kind of connect to each other and get that overlapping coverage area. Whereas something like the aerostat is going to be maybe more outside of the city, maybe more the rural area or that the distance between cities. Going to make that connection a lot more consistent. And so I think that it'll be great to see what they're doing there because hey, this isn't the most densely populated area, but it has the biggest coverage area, and to see how they seamlessly connect as the network goes up is going to be very, very exciting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to take us through the main content here for today's video. Again, I do want to thank both Rob and Clover Nodes. If you guys are not already following these two knowledge balls, right, check them out on Twitter. I mean, I don't have to say anything else. Like just listening to this live stream, you guys should get the sense of how much they're clued in when it comes to World Mobile. Again, both of their Twitter profiles are going to be down below as a part of today's video description. Now, let's move along. We're going to touch, I believe, on one more topic, and then we're probably going to go ahead and shut this down. We are making just about an hour. Again, if either one of you has to go, please do not hesitate to let me know. I'd be more than happy to let you guys roll. Again, I want to thank you both for your time. Now, the next piece of news we're going to jump into is going to be surrounding the World Mobile eSIM program that has officially rolled out. If you guys are not aware, at Rare Evo, I actually had the privilege of hanging out not only with Rob and Clover Notes, but with Mickey Watkins, and he gave us a pretty brief review or an intro of the World Mobile eSIM and just the World Mobile network in the United States. So that was a pretty big rollout. They brought their van out there. They had an AirNote set up out there, and Mickey Watkins was able to connect his cellular device to that network, which then provided him direct access to anything that he needed to get access to on the internet. Now, they've now made this available, and this is basically how it works: is the three-step piece or the three-step process, which is listed here on this screen. So number one, you can choose your data package, which we're going to look at here in just a minute. There's 3 different packages available. Number 2, you then install your eSIM. Now, an eSIM was new to me, right? But obviously for you guys have been in this game for quite a bit of time. I still have a physical SIM in my iPhone, but with the eSIM, you'll now be able to actually download and install an electronic eSIM, right? Which basically means that you no longer have to have a physical SIM card within your phone. So this will now be able to simplify, at least in my head, right? It removes one hurdle when it comes to getting access to the World Mobile network. And then number 3, last but not least, you activate that eSIM, which then gives you access to the data which you've signed up for as a part of step number 1, which was your data package selection. If I jump over into the next tab, this brand new feature is now covered in 41 plus countries, which include Australia, Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Denmark, Estonia, Jersey, Latvia, Malta, Netherlands, Portugal, Romania, to name a few. Obviously, we can't name all of them, but we also have the UK or United Kingdom at the bottom there, as well as the United States. Now, if I jump over into this last tab before I turn it over to the both of you, the eSIM goes for the following prices. The 1 gigabyte of data, which is available for 14 days, is valued at $8.50 US. 5 gigs of data, which is available for 60 days, goes for $30 US. And then we have 10 gigs of data valid for 90 days, $D US. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this is somewhat comparable to some of the data packages in my area. What's interesting is I posted a video about this about a week and a half ago, and the majority of the comments were stating that the actual data package prices were higher than some of the viewers or the commenters that were watching my channel. So I want to maybe pose the same question to you guys. How do these rates fare with respect to where you guys are located? And then maybe if you guys can give us a little bit as to why they might be the value that they are. Obviously, you guys don't work for World Mobile, so I can't expect you guys to, say anything with certainty, but it'd be interesting to maybe hear your perspective as to why it's priced the way it's priced. Again, either one of you want to jump in first.
Rob, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, this is not necessarily the let's put on the eSIM and sit at our house and play on the phone all day, every day. This is something specific for non-customers who are going to be traveling to different locations, maybe internationally. If you've ever taken your phone and tried to add a SIM and connect in other countries, you might get ridiculous roaming fees from your cell phone provider for accessing networks that are that far outside of their area. So unless you're doing something with like a prepaid, your fees are going to be ridiculous. Simply, looking at these prices, I mean, right now I'm paying for two phones. I'm paying $120 a month here in the US. And that's for an unlimited, but I just upgraded because it was about $105 for two phones, and that was for 8 gigs a month. So this isn't even that far outside of, if you look at the 60-day right there, it's not that far outside of it's higher than what I'd pay, but that's again sitting in my big city, on my phone all day. If you're going to travel, you're not going to get these kind of rates. These are going to be, and again, they're using in 41 different countries right now. So you can go to any of those countries, use this, and you're not going to pay roaming charges through your AT&T or your Verizon. So especially for somebody from the United States who's going to be traveling, you're going to save a lot of money. Mickey's talked about how these families will in Europe will come over and go to Disney World, and they'll take these vacations, and they'll have a $300 phone bill for being here for a week because they're trying to use their phone in Florida. And I mean, we're in the United States. Why is it so expensive? Because it's not your mobile carrier. You're using international roaming on that. And so the rates get really, really expensive. So this is a great option for somebody who is going to be traveling outside of their coverage area, that are going to want to have access to their mobile phone without paying through the teeth for it. But again, this is not a World Mobile clientele sign up membership. This is the ability to use this. So the rates are going to be even better if and when you sign up as a World Mobile customer for your regular service area as well. So again, I look at this and I think this is a great opportunity for a low cost, especially if you're planning an international trip.
Wonderfully said. This is definitely not, your monthly way of getting access to the internet or getting access to a network provider. I think this is something that you use when you're on the go, when you're maybe not somewhere where you're familiar or a local. Now I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Clover Nodes. Any thoughts surrounding this and how this compares to your local area, and just your thoughts surrounding the rollout of the eSIM product in general?
Yeah, so the eSIM essentially, it stands for a embedded SIM card, and essentially it's a replacement for your physical SIM card, and it's essentially like programmable remotely via software, and it's built into most new smartphones, meaning you wouldn't have to basically purchase a new SIM card every time you want to swap your SIM card. So I just got the newest iPhone, and I don't have any physical SIM card in it. I had to basically turn on my service through my eSIM card. So in a way, manufacturers they also really love that, because it's a true game changer, and it's not in a way a new technology, but then in a sense it is, because it's only been around for a few years. And as you can see, like most manufacturers are turning away from physical SIM cards because they want to bring up their sustainability scores. And removing the physical SIM slot does exactly this, and it creates less space on your phone. and less parts go into making that phone. So manufacturers are jumping on this left and right, and it's good to see World Mobile positioning itself in this newer technology and adapting the eSIM cards. And I saw someone in the comments say, when UK, and to answer your question now, you can go and get a electronic SIM card from World Mobile, and you can start roaming in the UK. It is part of those 40 countries that Fareed mentioned. And basically, I would give a little example of how these things are working and how this international SIM card is meant to be used. So I go back home in Europe almost every single year. The way I need to activate my service now is I need to call AT&T, and I need to essentially have this plan, which I believe it's about $10 a day when I'm back home in Europe. And this is also limited data. So whenever I go back, you are roaming on top of other MNOs networks, and they give you the lowest band. So essentially, you have very, very slow internet everywhere you go, and you don't have coverage everywhere you go. So on our last Twitter space, we had Alex, who's a pretty prominent community member, and he was in Greece. And the cool part is that he jumped on our Twitter space, and he was using that eSIM card. And he confirmed that essentially World Mobile has roaming agreements not only with one MNO, they have roaming agreements with multiple MNOs. So if you don't have reception in one area, you would essentially jump on to another MNO, and that right there makes a huge difference. Another thing I also want to add is basically whenever I go back home in Europe, right? I just mentioned that it's $10 a day. So I don't want to pay $10 a day because that's crazy. If I go for a month, I got to spend like $300 for a crappy network service and crappy connectivity and reception. So what I do is I basically need to go to a local provider, and I need to get a physical SIM card, and I need to put that in my phone, right, in order for me to save some money. But the problem is that my phone does not come with a physical SIM card. So what would I do now, right? I mean, these are the type of things that World Mobile is thinking about, and these are the type of customers like myself they're looking to attract. So in a sense, like Rob said, people travel all the time, and people are needing these SIM cards and needing to use them. So it's a good and very affordable way of jumping on the World Mobile network. And these SIM cards as well, we're going to be seeing being utilized here in the United States as well. So eventually, once we start seeing infrastructure roll out in the United States, people are going to be roaming on top of air nodes, right? And on top of World Mobile network coverage. And that will give you a lot more discounts than what you guys see right now being offered by World Mobile. So don't get discouraged by these prices, even though these prices actually are about 10 to 20% cheaper than what I've researched, and probably about 50% cheaper than if you would have to pay $10 a day for Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile going around other countries. So yeah, I don't want to take too much time, but that's essentially my thoughts on the eSIMs, and I'm very excited to see it happen, and how easy it is for you to just scan a QR code and install that SIM card on your phone. Makes it very, very easy.
Well said. And one thing that comes to mind for myself now, the next time I'm going to be leaving the country, I'm going to see, is this a viable option, right? This will give me the opportunity to test it and get my own sense, because I've seen other people provide feedback on it. And I want to just give a quick shout out to, I believe his name is, oh my goodness, it's 51?
51.
Yeah, he's been putting out a lot of great content. I don't have his Twitter link down below. I'll probably add that in there after the show ends today. But another wonderful resource, and I've been keeping up with his tweets, and it looks like he's gotten his hands on the eSIM, and he basically was saying, it's very simple to set up. And I think even made some Twitter posts using the eSIM that he was connected to. So again, a huge shout out to the World Mobile team, a huge milestone, not only within Mozambique, but also with the eSIM. Now, we are going on about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and I think bring this down here within the last 15 minutes here, there's two things I want to jump into. And obviously, we could maybe pick up the next episode here if you guys are willing on these two topics as well, where we maybe just dive in a little bit deeper. But we've got one being the expansion with an ISP or a partnership with an ISP within the region of Oregon. And then we also have a recent partnership with an automation or AI platform for customer service enhancement. So either one of you have a preference as to what you guys want to jump into next for the last 15 minutes?
Let's go to the Oregon one.
Let's go ahead and do it. So, for those of you who are not aware, World Mobile and Adaptive Broadband join forces to bring decentralized wireless connectivity to the rural area or the rural state of Oregon. Now, as I understand it, this is going to be, again, somewhat of a symbiotic relationship, not where World Mobile is coming in and dominating an entire open market, but they're going to be collaborating with a platform or an ISP, internet service provider, that's already in the rural area of Oregon and basically piggybacking off of the infrastructure. So, Cal, since you kind of picked this one, what are your thoughts surrounding this, and just what has come to mind after seeing this partnership?
Yeah, it's good. I like the partnership. It came out of the blue, which is very, very interesting. I don't think anyone was aware of this partnership, so I really like these type of partnerships that just come out of nowhere, and then everyone starts researching and starts thinking about these things, And from my research, I mean, adaptive broadband, they've been in business for about like 15 years, connecting rural areas in Oregon. And it's really good to see that they're essentially integrating World Mobile, and they're turning about 70 of their radios and towers and hotspots into air nodes. So these air nodes are going to be authenticated on the IA network, and it's going to be really beneficial to see how World Mobile air nodes get to benefit these rural areas. So yeah, it shows that there is a high interest in the United States. It's going to be good to see all of the adaptive broadband subscribers jump onto the World Mobile network, because Oregon in itself, it's a type of state that has a lot of these gaps in rural areas that people don't have a lot of connectivity. So I believe World Mobile's network, it's perfectly aligned to cover these type of areas, especially the rural ones surrounding Oregon. So very good to see World Mobile and this partnership happen. And I believe this is going to be one of the many different partnerships that World Mobile is currently working on and that we're not aware of. And I'm happy to see the World Mobile Network grow in different states, not only the four that they landed this Band 71, So it's very good to see World Mobile expanding.
All right, Rob, over to you. And again, Clover, thank you for that. I didn't realize that the ISP was going to be allowing for World Mobile to run, I think you said air nodes, or convert some of the infrastructure to operate air nodes. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there's going to be about 70 of their radios. So essentially, I'm assuming their CBRS radios are going to be converted to air nodes. And they're going to be benefiting from the Air World Mobile Network and expanding it through that.
Really cool to hear again. Thank you guys for teaching me as well along the way. Rob, over to you for any thoughts surrounding the Oregon ISP partnership.
Well, when you're operating air nodes, there's really two things that you need in order to get the signal out and going. One is power, and the other is internet capability. And so you have connectivity with adaptive broadband. So therefore, you don't need a fiber in or Starlink in, or get some more other kind of connectivity to the air node, because they're building on their existing structure. Because they have the existing structure, there's also the power right there. So you don't need an outlet. You don't need solar panels. So this is what you're going to start to see, things like this, where they're taking this old antiquated infrastructure and revitalizing it in order to have multi uses. So this is a huge partnership, not just because of the area of coverage and the people that live there and the immediate potential customer base is going to be there, but it's a model. It's something that we can I say we as the World Mobile community, but it's something that World Mobile is able to then do. They can go to different ISPs throughout the country, throughout the world, and say, look, we're ready to take this to the next step, and you have the existing infrastructure in place. We're here to help with that. And so again, it's just like Pakistan, no boots on the ground yet. There is an economy now for World Mobile, for the air nodes, for the earth node operators. There's connectivity to get customer base. And again, they're not building any towers, they're not hardwiring any electronics, any internet, any power. It's there, and they're finding the right people to partner with. It's brilliant.
Yeah, what you just mentioned there about reusing stuff really piqued my interest there. I didn't even think about it that way. Like, instead of World Mobile spending the time to put and deployed, like you said, boots on the ground infrastructure there, they're just working with people that already had stuff built there. And now they're either converting it or just being able to take advantage of what's already there. So I think, again, it's a really huge way to expand while also making sure that expenses are kept relatively low. Now, I did want to jump into that very last partnership. I think we may have to just hold on to that for the next chat here. There's been so many comments. I haven't been able to take the time to address them all, but I've been trying to at least bring them up on the screen for you guys to take a look at. We've been going for a little bit over an hour and 15 minutes, almost closing in on an hour and a half. We did get a late start, but we were joined by, again, two huge contributors to the World Mobile team. We've got Rob Cardano and Clover Nodes. You guys, please check out the description down below. Their Twitter handles are down there. They're obviously very well versed when it comes to World Mobile. They host ENO Twitter Spaces, I believe, once every other week. And we're now in talks between us to see if we could potentially do something like this via YouTube as well. So if you guys have enjoyed any portion of today's call, please make sure to like the stream. Again, follow these guys on Twitter and just let us know what you guys think down below. What did we do well as a part of this video? What could we potentially do better to include you guys? I know that I do quiz portions or quiz segments in some of my other live streams. Would you guys potentially like to see, some engaging content when it comes to that, to see how well versed you are, the viewer, when it comes to keeping up with World Mobile? Those are the things that really, I think, bring the community together. But I hope that if any of you guys are watching this either live or even on the replay, that if you guys tuned in, that you guys have learned at least one single thing, from this. Like, you may not have found this entire live stream to be, brand new information, but I can definitely say, speaking for myself, that I've learned a handful of things here from the both of you guys. So on that note, do you guys have any closing thoughts here for the community as we land the plane? And again, we'll continue this chat here with some of the other partnerships in our future live streams.
Who's going next? Would you like me to go next? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Give us your closing thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. I would love to see other ENOs as well jump on here and see some faces, some new faces. I would say, yeah, I'm like, basically, final thoughts. Super excited, about what's coming for World Mobile. I'm excited to see Pakistan go live. I'm excited to see Operation Airnode go live. Excited to see people get involved and people start participating and owning part of the infrastructure of World Mobile. That's going to be really good to see. I'm excited to see the global app expanding to other countries. The eSIMs expanding to more countries and more people using them. And finally, I'm excited about the United States expansion. And like Mickey says, they're validating assumptions and they're proving them correct. And that's a really good validation to prove that United States would be a great place for World Mobile to launch and grow their network. So again, thank you for having me on your show, Fareed. I'm a huge fan. I watch all your content. Your content is excellent. And yeah, so follow Dap Central everywhere. Subscribe to his channel. Share his stuff. The guy is relentless. He works, nonstop to bring us all great content there's not too many people out there that do Cardano content and World Mobile content, and he's one of them, and he's my top favorite. So yeah, follow him everywhere. Follow Rob too. Yeah, follow him everywhere. Subscribe to his stuff and subscribe to the Earth Node Alliance. Make sure you guys join our Twitter Spaces every Saturday, and yeah, just be a part of this community, this ever growing community. World Mobile it's here because of us, the community, and we're essentially together are going to grow this project to be the top telco in the entire world. So very excited to be part of this with everyone else, and thanks for everyone that joined today.
Man, what a wonderful way to put us out there. And as he says that, his camera gives us one final goodbye. We're going to let him go ahead and fix that real quick. But Clover, I want to say thank you so much. And, you're now here on the official Dap Central YouTube channel. So we're now both content creators. And I'm really excited to kind of have this live stream with you where this is your introduction onto YouTube and just streaming in general. So I look forward to growing together and look forward to also contributing to the World Mobile Network. Now, before I get to you, Rob, there's, I think, one question here from somebody who just joined that I do want to give them an answer here. And I think we've just touched on this. So again, either one of you feel free to take this one. But we've got a question coming in from Call Me Body Satva. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Forgive me if you guys have already answered this, but will there be SIM cards just for the internet or data for the people in the rural area of Oregon, therefore allowing for people to cancel Starlink internet and use World Mobile? I believe that as a part of the eSIM package that they are able to get coverage within the United States. So I believe that covers all 50 states, not just Oregon, but you guys feel free to correct me and maybe take a shot at that.
So Starlink could also be used as a backhaul for air nodes. And essentially, if you would like to connect your community, I wouldn't cancel your Starlink. I would actually buy an air node so you can provide connectivity for everyone around you, yourself, and everyone around you for that community. And like Fareed said, yeah, you can definitely use the eSIM card everywhere in the United States. And as a matter of fact, once these 70 radios are turned on in Oregon, you're most likely going to be saving on your World Mobile plan because you're roaming around your World Mobile infrastructure. So that's something cool to note. And yeah, don't cancel your Starlink service. You're most likely going to be able to use that as a backhaul to internet node.
Thank you for that, Clover. I've got a few more questions, and then Rob, we're coming right over to you for the closing statement. And then we're going to go ahead and end this out. So we've got a quick question here from Jeff. Shout out to him, fellow ENO. I got to meet him and his lovely wife at Denver or in Denver as a part of Rare Evo. So Jeff states, for Reed, is the choice of YouTube over X to allow video to see the speakers? Yes. And YouTube, I think, is also one of the platforms where content really does live forever. A lot of platforms, for example, like X, the content, when it's fresh, does very well. But when you're going back to look for it or search for it historically, it can be a little bit difficult. Now, keep in mind that we are streaming on both platforms right now, Jeff. So whether you want to catch us right now on YouTube or on X, you can go ahead and do that. And obviously, we'll go ahead and, share and retweet as much as possible. But I just tend to find that videos on YouTube are easier to track down after the fact. And the algorithm also does a really good job of finding target viewers for the content itself. So I hope that answers your question there. Let's see here. We got some other praise or some more praise coming in from Jeff here. Thanks, Cal, Rob, and Fareed. We've got Colin as well, fellow ENO, who's, I believe, running MAV 100, which just, I believe, got some air nodes within Africa itself. So shout out to Colin and shout out to the MAV 100 team. Thanks, Clover, Rob, and thanks Fareed. We've got Brody Alden, a huge supporter here of the channel, tunes in almost to every single video. Thank you, Brody. I appreciate you tuning in and hopefully found this to be useful as well. We've got a question here, or excuse me, a comment here coming in from Colin regarding the Starlink. We've also got another quick question here for John O'Connor. Any plans for Brazil? Please check out that slide that we shared earlier. Let me see if I can pull it up here very quickly. I believe if Brazil is listed here, then you may be covered, but I'm not sure that I see it. So I know the team has been slowly rolling out to more and more countries. So I would definitely say keep an eye out here on the official World Mobile eSIM Twitter, which is actually brand new. If you guys aren't already following that, make sure to do that to stay updated with the latest countries that are now getting additional support or getting rolled out into. Let's see here. We've got some additional praise coming in from Wave Nodes. Thanks, guys, for the live stream. Thank you as well. I believe fellow ENO. And to that end, let's go ahead and just quickly turn this over to Rob for his closing comments and thoughts surrounding World Mobile Mozambique, the eSIM, just everything that's going on with this awesome project.
Well, first, I want to thank you for having us on here. It was great to get to know you in person. I can truly say that you are a real life friend of mine, and I love it. I love your videos, how positive, encouraging you are, how upbeat you are, how knowledgeable, and how much work you put into it. It's very evident in everything that you do. Very, very impressive. I love following and watching along to your channel. So, Fareed, you do an amazing job. DAP Central is my number one go-to when I want to try and figure out what's going on in this seemingly ever changing world of crypto. And so I'm grateful for you for the content. I'm grateful for you as a person and as a friend. So thank you for even thinking of Cal and I to come on here. You mentioned World Mobile. You talked about kind of the different locations where they're deploying. We talked about the aerostat going up in Mozambique. Originally, the test area was Zanzibar, now the United States. And this is a little off topic, but I'll bring it back here. You see some people complaining about, well, why are they deploying in the United States? Why? I thought we were going to connect the unconnected. Well, there are unconnected within the United States, but we're testing different models. You got to understand this. In the United States, there's a couple of things that we really have going for us. One, we have a lot of telecom companies, but there's a lot of holes. So we're testing that Swiss cheese approach. We're filling the gaps. We're trying to figure out, how does the Operation Aeronode work, and can it be cost effective in a place where there is coverage, but maybe some places lacks certain areas, how an Aeronode plugs the hole as opposed to providing the only coverage. So they're doing different things. In Zanzibar, they're doing Aeronode coverage for the island. In Mozambique, the first thing they did was they haven't announced public Aeronodes in Mozambique. They listed the aerostat. So we're testing different methodologies for how things are going. In the United States, we're testing actual licensed spectrum as well as CBRS. We're testing that fill in the gaps, the nook and cranny, the Swiss cheese approach to getting the coverage. The other thing is, you got to remember, this costs money, and there's over 100 people on staff at World Mobile. They have to get paid, and at some point, the funding might dry up, if we're just doing volunteer charity work all the time. So we need paying customers. And I say I'm not part of the team. I'm, we consider ourselves World Mobile, all of us. We need paying customers. We need to have this be successful in a place that can bring in some income. So I believe that's why they shifted some focus to the United States, is to test these methods, but also to find a way to generate some sustainable income. It's like the old thing you hear from, at church. You want to give of the abundance of what you have. If you're constantly pouring from your cup to somebody else's, eventually your cup's going to be empty. You have to give of the overflow and the excess. And so we need to have that topped up, our coffers topped off, so that way we have the ability to deploy in other countries that maybe need it, but might not be able to bring in the revenue to justify it as a sustainable standalone. So I think that's why you're seeing these different types of rollouts in different areas. Specifically for Brazil, there's some comments last week about, somebody else wanted it in Argentina. We have a great Cardano community in South America, in Latin America, and watching the deployment happen in Central and South America, it's going to happen. And it's going to be very, very exciting, because especially with the community that we have established in those areas, Argentina, Brazil, Central America as well. So I think that as this grows and they find what's the best methods for the topology, are we talking kind of flat cornfields like where I'm at in Iowa, Nebraska? Are we talking the mountain ranges? Are we talking deserts? Are we talking, rainforests? Learning how to do all this stuff so we can actually truly plug and play, and it's not a one size fits all. There's going to be different solutions for different areas. So I think as World Mobile rolls out, as they generate sustainability, so that they're not working on those early investors' funds, they're actually able to say, hey, look, we are not only able to pay all of our network with a sharing economy, but we have the excess now to go and deploy in 50 different places at once instead of adding one or two at a time. I think that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing is watching this thing grow so it is self-sustainable for the team, for the company, for the sharing economy. Very, very excited for where this is going, and I absolutely believe in it. If you know, if there's a way that I could quit my job right now and be all on World Mobile, I absolutely would be. But I believe that's coming in time. I believe that we're going to be in a position where if we're setting ourselves up, we're going to be able to help this amazing network, this amazing sharing economy, and that's most what I'm looking forward to.
What an awesome way to close out a informative yet exciting live stream. Again, I want to thank the both of you guys for making your first appearance here on DAP Central. I look forward to having you guys on for additional live streams. And just for one other member here that I do see, again, huge support of the channel, Brody, he asked about the utility of the World Mobile Token. So Brody, please do go back and watch. There's a piece there where Clover Notes breaks down the World Mobile buyback and just the utility of the token, as well as Rob. But that's probably going to be something that we maybe jump into as a part of the next live stream, right? Just breaking down why is the World Mobile Token needed and why is it important for the actual sharing economy. So again, I want to thank you both. We are going to be wrapping this down now. I want to give you guys a little bit of time to hang out with your families, enjoy the weekend, and all of that fun stuff. So as always, for you guys, the viewers, I do appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys enjoyed today's live stream, please make sure to tap that like button. If you're watching this as a part of the replay, leave a comment down below. If you guys want more content like this surrounding the top builders in the Cardano ecosystem and just some of the greater contributors to the Cardano ecosystem, then as always, like I said, make sure to go ahead and subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end here. I want to thank Cal and Rob. Again, make sure to follow them both. And on that note, we will see you guys in the next video. Cheers. Take care.